It's Bob Nagin, and in this interview, I am really excited to talk to Crystal Vilkaitis. Crystal is our go-to resource for all things social media and retail. So, Crystal, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes. So, Crystal has spoken at the summit. How many times have you been to the Retail Success Summit?
Well, if this year, I think it'll be 10. So I think it's been 9. It might be 10 already. Yeah, many years.
All right. Wonderful. Yeah. So Crystal's company is Crystal Media. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, we teach independent retailers how to drive foot traffic and sales using social media, email marketing, text marketing, all those digital tools, just trying to make it easy to understand and implement.
Yes, especially with social media. There's so much confusion, so many different platforms, so many different things to do. And, I just want to commend you because you and your team really do a great job. So now, do you have courses? Do you have groups? Do you do it for people? How do you work with your clients?
Yeah, a few different ways. So for my DIYers who want to learn and do it themselves, we've got a membership site called our Insiders, very active group in there where they just get access to content, training, and our support group. We also have some one-off courses that we sell on just specific topics. And then we have some done-for-you services too. We have an ads agency where we manage Facebook and Instagram ads. And we also manage local listing sites for retailers like Google, Bing, Yahoo, Dex. Those people know the big ones. There's a lot of smaller ones too. So we manage and optimize those as well.
That's great. So you're a go-to resource for all things retail and social media.
You got it. Yes.
Good. So I mean, the world is changing all the time, every moment. In fact, if you're listening to this interview right before Aubrey pushed the record button, we were saying that I did an interview 2 days ago, and it almost seems irrelevant yet today. But let's talk, or please share with us. So, marketing has always been about pulling people into your store. And with social distancing and with a lot of people or a lot of states in shelter at home. And, so now the emphasis isn't on bringing people into the store. Now our retailers are trying to drive sales without driving traffic. And, so please speak to, how social media does that or how digital marketing does that. What are you telling your clients?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm telling my clients, no matter what, if most of our clients right now, their stores are closed. So we have to stay top of mind, right? I mean, one of the best ways, whether your store is open or not, to stay connected is through social media. 1 in 5 minutes is spent on a mobile device, either on Facebook or Instagram. And now with so many people being forced to stay home, we've seen a rapid surge in social media usage as well. So if our customers are spending time there, then we want to show up as a business, right? Our store is closed, but our business is not. So First, we just want to make sure that we are showing up and we're staying top of mind and we're connected and participating in this conversation, because there's a lot of different emotions around this. And within your community, people want to hear from these stores. They want to know what's going on and really kind of connect, as a community through online tools, because that's what we've got to do right now. So that's the first thing, is just making sure we're still showing up. Like, we don't stop posting now because our store is closed. Right. I think it's really important we stay connected. And then for those of us who can still sell, I mean, we are still seeing a lot of people can do deliveries, curbside pickup, shipping. This social is such a great way to still move product. You can do it a lot of different ways, but these sites are visual. So you're either using a photo or a video. I'm highly going to recommend that you use video. On Facebook specifically, they put a heavier weight on video posts. So that means that you get more organic reach, free reach for posts that are video based. Also, when people stay on social media content longer, and it doesn't matter where they are, if it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, if they stay on the content longer, they're more likely to see what you are posting in the future. So it's just a way to make sure you're showing up top of the news feed when people are signing in, so they see your content. So video is going to be a really strong tool to do that. And then we're talking about our products, right? I mean, perfect example of this. I just got a kind of an email. It was a post in our insider group from one of my insiders last night. She did a live video, which that's what I would really like our retailers to do right now, is leverage live streaming, because it's interactive. And it's such a great way to just talk about, the product itself and the quantity and the price, and people have questions, so it's easier to sell that way. And so one thing that I teach is you want to make sure you're going live when most of your customers are on social media. Mm-hmm. So you want to look at your insights, and that's exactly what she did. So she was going live on Tuesdays at 9:30 a.m. She looks at her insights. Her Facebook people are on between 7 and 9 p.m. So just yesterday of us filming this video, she says, okay, I'm going to try to go at night. It was a Thursday night. She goes live. She said she had the most people ever that showed up. She had 60 people live with her, which is awesome.
Nice.
A local store, right? Home decor store, housewares, and she went for an hour and 25 minutes. So, and we could talk about video length, because I feel like a lot of your people will have some questions about how long should you go live for, but and she had people interacting, they were loving it, and orders were being placed. So
that's
it's
great.
You just got to leverage these tools, stay connected, and then we can still sell through. It's an easy way to sell through.
Yeah. So what Susan and I have been talking about, in our retail marketing club and in some of the videos, we've been doing the podcast every day in the community forums, is we've sort of we're looking at it this way. There's really two tracks, and one track is content with by the way, the content is how to get your yard ready for the spring. Oh, by the way, you're going to need this stuff. And the other is, flat out social selling, QVC style. Here's the thing, buy now. And our recommendation is to create an appropriate blend, so that when people see you, if you're a toy store, you can teach people how to play games. You can have virtual parties. You can, have a seminar. We sort of break it down into, something that's interesting, something that's distracting. Can you speak to that, sort of the blend, your recommendations as the blend of, that content versus selling?
Totally. So, and this is something, this is kind of just social media best practices. I've been teaching it for many years. We want to engage our audience, educate them, inspire, entertain, connect. And then we also want to talk about our products, right? They want to know what's new and what's going on in store. So we have to have a blend of both. And just to give a little background of why that's important. So when we are engaging our audience in teaching, inspiring, having conversations, that builds the relationship, right? And we buy from people we know, like, and trust. And so it's something that Amazon cannot do. Like, that is not going to happen with these big box stores. Our independents have such a one-up when they can show themselves and the owner, the employees, and connect on that level. So we want to be doing that. We're building the relationship. Plus, typically people will engage with that type of content if it's relevant, if it's timely, if it's good value. And so when people engage with our social media posts, that helps with the algorithm on all the social sites. So it helps more people see what you're posting in the future organically for free, right? So free reach is not dead, but it has dropped. So we want to make sure we do what we can to build a relationship and then still get seen. And then from the product side, people follow retailers online to see what's new, to get the trends, it's entertainment, right? So now we can still, even though we can't go out and be entertained that way, we can still do it within our homes. And so there absolutely has to be the blend. I'll share something that's pretty cool too. Another one of our insiders, he'll do every Tuesday at 1 p.m. He goes live on his Facebook page, The Green Monkey, Raleigh, North Carolina. It's gift shop. They also sell some beer and wine. And he's training his audience that every Tuesday at 1, we're going to talk about products, right? And people can have questions and talk a little bit back and forth. But then once a week, he does a game night for all of his loyal monkey fans. And last week, they all played bingo through Zoom. Like, they sent the link, they're all in there playing bingo. And then just last night, they played a game of guess whose baby picture it is. So all the fans sent these baby pictures ahead of time, and they had them on the screen. So they're just totally connecting with each other, because they used to do a lot of in-store events. So you don't have to stop your event. You know, you got to still just use them now or do them over virtually.
Yeah, I agree. And we call it when we teach marketing, we call it the emotional bank account. And just like a bank account with dollars or pesos or krona or whatever you have, the more you put in, the more you can take out. And whenever you're putting something of value into your community, it's a deposit. Whenever you ask them for money, it's a withdrawal. So the more that you can really focus on delivering that value, boom, 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 the better off you're going to be. So let me ask you another question. I contend that this epidemic and the fact that it's teaching people or forcing people to be comfortable on screen is going to lead to a much, much, much more robust presence online with live video after this is done. So I'll just share a quick story from the Platinum Mastermind. We had David Lawrence, is it the 17th or the 18th? David Lawrence, the 17th. He plays the puppet master in Heroes, and he's a friend of ours, and he came and did us a whole session on live video. And he got people in our Platinum Mastermind group, and as you know, these are sharp people who never, ever would, they were terrified. And sure enough, there were a couple of them on our group page going, hey, look at my first video. And what they found was that they were good at it. They were natural at it. They were just talking about their product. But what I think is going to happen is that people are going to adopt new best practices that are going to really, really serve them well after this is done. I did an interview with Maureen Doran, and you know Maureen. I did an interview with her about her clienteling program, and just the reaction to it was so strong. People are going, oh, I should be doing this all the time. So they're going to get in these habits. They're going to see the benefits of doing live video, of doing clienteling, of having their books in order in case they need to make apply for a loan in 2 or 3 days, right? All of these weaknesses that are allowable when cash is good and business is good and times are rosy and the sun is shining every day, the birds are chirping. All of a sudden, it's forcing everybody to become better, to do things they weren't necessarily comfortable with, like live video. And then when this is done, they're going to be better positioned to take those skills and use them in the future. Do you agree, or what would you say to that?
I said that exact same thing a couple weeks ago on a webinar where, you know, one thing that we've been talking a lot more about over the past year is experiences, right? Because we're looking at ways to compete with Amazon and e-commerce. And so how do we do that? And we look at experiences from a customer service level, of the in-store experiences and events and services we might offer. And now we're offering delivery and curbside pickup and this convenient shopping event from your home while we live stream. So it's exactly what we've been talking about. We're just, what I call this is you're just pushed off the cliff, right? Like you are forced.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, let's get going and use them. And so in a way, I'm happy that people are starting to embrace it. I hate that they have to do it out of like fear or they're forced into doing that. But my retailers who have been doing this for many years prior it's been really easy for them to keep going, right? Because they know what they're doing, they're set up. Easy to just flip it on. Now we just ship to you. We're good.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that more people are going to embrace this, because it's only going to help build their business when we're all done with this too.
That's right. I agree with that 100%. So, and I'll make a statement that David made. I'll just quote David, and if you don't mind, sort of play off it. So there were, several people who were very nervous about it, and I don't look right for it, I don't sound right for it. They were giving 1,000 reasons why they couldn't do it, and David went into this emotional pitch that you are enough. He got really, really choked up. This whole idea of, as long as you're transparent, as long as you're real, that's good enough. Lights are nice. A production quality is nice. All of this is nice, but at the end of the day, people just want to see you.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh, I 100% agree. So one thing that I teach is, when you're looking at the camera, so many of our retailers, we do in-person workshops and we've got our online training, and I hear all the time the same thing. I don't want to be on camera. I don't like how I look or how I sound, or nobody cares, or they don't want to see me, or I'm awkward, all the things, right? There's so much fear around being on camera. And one thing that I always recommend is, when you're looking at the camera, think of your perfect customer, that person that you just love, like your favorite person in the world. And Kirsten, the one who did her live last night and had over 60 people on with her, she's like, that helped me so much. I just thought of my perfect customer on that other side. Yeah. And then she said, and you're right, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. You have to keep going. And your first couple probably are going to be awkward, and you might feel really weird, but that is okay, because again, it is not about you. It really is about the customer, and they want to see you and they love you. And we just have to keep that in mind as we film. We had an ads client, and I'll tell you, video ads perform better than a photo ad, meaning you'll get more for your money if you do a video ad on Facebook. So her costs were a little high, and we asked her, will you please just do a 1-minute video in the store? And because we know video is going to help us get these costs down, it will just perform better. She was like, we really had to talk her into this. We're like, come on, give us this video. No! So she finally does it, and it's funny. She refuses to watch her videos now, so she'll record and just publish and won't look at them. We significantly dropped her costs down, and people started driving in even 2 hours away from her store because of the videos they saw on Facebook. She's kind of like this little local celebrity, and we hear that from so many of our insiders now. They're recognized at the grocery store, at the bank, because they're showing up to their people. Yes. So you just gotta hit record. You just gotta.
Yes. You just have to do it. So somebody who I follow, his name's Ben Settle. He has a newsletter, and he said, today, really one of the secrets to being successful in business today, no matter what business you're in, is being in the business of being yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, I know some people who that would be terrible advice for. But for most of our clients, the people in your community, the people in our community, the people who are in both of our communities, because we share so many clients, our communities are filled with good human beings. Yeah. And no matter how they dress or look or all of that, as long as they show up and they're real and they're honest, it all works, So I just keep saying, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. That's why they call it practice. It's just amazing how you become an adult. When you're a kid, you learn how to do everything. I fell down. How many times did I fall down learning how to ride a bicycle? All the things that you learn to do. It's always about failing and falling down. It's about practice. And people just expect to jump on the camera and be great. No, you're going to probably not be great the first couple times, but as long as you're real and as long as people see that, so I'll share something else. what I've learned in the past, or, in the past, I never liked to really show emotion. I like to, be real. But what I find is if I get genuinely teared up, I'm not a good enough actor to create that emotion. But if I genuinely am and truly touched in it, and it makes me like that, it just brings the audience in such a meaningful way. I don't think you should. If you're faking it, shame on you. But we were doing one of our community forums, and Cindy Wells, who's we've been with Cindy, for a long time, and she's had some she just had some challenges. And we were talking to her, and both Susan and I are like crying. I'm still getting, but people respond to that. So I guess what I'm sharing with all of your people and everybody who's listening to this is just be real, just be yourself, and everything else will take care of itself. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. People, so when you are you, like your audience, your tribe, your list, your customers are with you because they like you, right? Like none of us appeal to everybody. Like there are people out there who probably don't want to listen to me, and there are people out there who love listening to me, I
love listening to you, Crystal.
Oh, thank you, Bob. I love listening to you too. But it's like, so what we have to keep in mind is the people that are on our social when we do these videos, they love us. Like they want to see us. And our people, they're good humans. They're part of their community. They love their customers. And I think that's why you want to just think of your favorite person on the other side of that camera. And then also, if you're nervous, say that you're nervous. It's okay. Yeah. If it's your first time doing a video, say it's your first time. People will encourage you. You'll feel better. And what I always say too is once you start seeing it work, then you're like, ooh, that was fun. I'm going to do it. You build it up a little bit, but just be easy on yourself and just think about that connection with your people. However you do it, in-store, video, you've got to connect with them. They want to see you.
Yeah, and I agree 1,000%. So, when I first thought about this interview with you, I thought maybe we talk about technical things and stuff like that, but I'd really rather not. So may I assume that, the basics of lighting and sort of that, tell us a little bit about your Social to Sell program. Do we cover that? Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So the Crystal Media inbox has been flooded with questions about how do I sell through on Facebook, but what about this? What do I need? But how do I get more people there? Like all the questions, right?
Right.
So I spent last weekend just building a course to answer every single question that people have. So whether it's about just the logistics on how you get started and what settings you need on your phone and on your computer and how to test if the internet's strong enough and how to make sure what you say before, like what do you need to do before your video and what do you need to gather? What do you say when you start? What do you do during the video? What do you do when you're done to make sure more people seeing it? What gear do you have in store? Whether you want to be super simple and just do it, go start. And that's what I want most people to do. If you're new, like just start. You don't need all the fancy things.
Right.
Just get going. And like you, Bob, I always say done is better than perfect. So just, do a video. So we cover all of those questions. And then there are many ways that you can sell through these different platforms. You can do it manually. You can use third-party tools. If you sell online, then obviously you're just linking to the site that way. There's also tools that allow you to kind of cast to their audiences, like a QVC type situation. So we just cover all of that in our social selling course.
Great. And so so if somebody's listening to this interview on our site, how do they get to your site?
Well, I am assuming from your site, maybe a button or a link that links over the
Well, yes, but what I say, hey, Crystal, Tell us your website. Well, what is your website? What is your URL?
You go to crystalmediaco.com. On their products is where you can learn more about what we have, but it's called the social selling course is what you're looking for. And it's $47. It's like the lowest priced item that we've ever made because I just want to make it affordable for people right now. So yeah, that's how
and I'm looking at everybody in our community and saying, if that's really for most of you, that's one, maybe two transactions. So one of the things that I'm seeing happening right now is people are cutting to the muscle, not cutting out fat and not making wise investments. And this would be a good example of, look, if you give me $47 and I give you $3,000 back, would you do that? And most people would say yes. And so I guess what I'm doing, Crystal, is I'm encouraging everyone to invest in this program. I was hoping to find the time to get it myself and look at it, but we've just been, like you, our communities are just going crazy.
Totally.
Lots of stuff going on.
And Bob, I feel like with your marketing club, the ideas that you guys give them every month, they should be taking that through to these live streaming events that they're doing as well.
Absolutely.
Total synergy there. And that's a great example of the muscle too. Like you've got to market, you've got to stay top of mind. We'll show you how to do that.
Yes, good, wonderful. So let's talk about the other end. So when, and I think that we've alluded to it, we've hit on it, we've touched on it, but let's go a little closer. So you talk about engagement and top of mind, and we've talked about building relationships. What do you think the future holds? And I know that this is a really, really broad question, and it might last, some people are saying 3 weeks. Some people are saying, 18 months, but there's going to be an end to this. What do independent brick and mortar retailers need to do now to make sure that when this is done, they're positioned as strongly as possible?
Oh, yes. So the thing is right now, a lot of our retailers are telling me that they've got a little more time on their hands. We know our retailers are very busy people. So if you do have some more time here, I really recommend that you first look at your digital footprint right now. Like what information is out there online about your store? Is it correct? Does it have all the right information? All the consumer know lines you carry should be listed in all of your online platforms, on your site, on social. Because we are closed right now, we're making sure that hours reflect that online, but how people reach out to you. Our store is closed, but go to our Facebook page because we're doing these live events or whatever it is. So make sure people know how to still connect with you. So we're making sure we've got just a solid, complete, and optimized digital footprint on our listing sites, on our social media sites. Now is also a really good time to build your list. So we are focusing on connecting, yes, right? So we are consistent, we're connecting with our current customers, but let's get more people that we can be reaching as well. So whether that is your email list, which I still strongly recommend, and you guys do too, build your email list, build your social media audience as well. I call these dependable and undependable. So your dependable is the list, right? Your email or cell phone numbers, addresses, if you do print. Then the undependable is our social media, our followers, our likes. I also want people to consider launching a bot and doing some things with Facebook Messenger, which we talked about at your conference last year at the Retail Success Summit. And in fact, the example of last night, she went live, my retailer, Kirsten, she sent out a reminder to all her people through Facebook Messenger of the people that were subscribed to her messenger bot, hey, I'm going to go live. And that helped her get more people there live. So you can build subscribers just like you build email subscribers to your bot. So I would put in place some ways that I am building. It's like the top of the funnel, get people into your funnel, keep talking to them and connecting, because then when you are done, we have stronger relationships. We really showed up for our people and we grew our reach as well.
That's great. That's great. And actually, I love that because we call it a rented name or an owned name. And we consider social media a rented name. Yeah. And so since this isn't going to be on Facebook, I'd like to make a prediction and see if you agree. I think that Mark Zuckerberg and his friends, seeing how they are increasing their reach and their importance, are going to start charging more for access to the communities that we've built. I don't think he's going to become more generous. I think he's going to see all of the things that happen here as a profit opportunity. And so while social media will still be incredibly valuable, that the trend to having to pay for reach will continue. Do you think that is correct?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question. My prediction is I could see it still staying on course how it was going before. So how it was going before was advertising is getting more expensive. If you are reaching a national audience. So it's becoming harder for small businesses to advertise because of the cost. And even for us at Crystal Media, like it's becoming harder for us to leverage Facebook ads. So we've actually scaled away from that. But like I said, we have a Facebook and Instagram ad agency where we manage our retailers' ads on a local level. And Mark Zuckerberg has said this, they like local conversations and community. Right. They try to build community. So if you are brick and mortar, I think it's really important for you to talk about the local community, connect with other businesses. And then when you're advertising to that audience, the cost tends to be lower. The other thing is groups. Facebook groups are just such a strong tool, and they have been for more of that organic connection, again, because it's about a conversation versus like a business page. It's me, one to many. The group is really about all of us, right? Yes. And Mark's trying to create a place for conversation and connection because it keeps us there. And then his advertisers are, they're wanting to pay to play because so many people are there. So that is kind of my prediction. I could see the groups still being powerful, and a marketplace, especially on like a local level, is still strong. Local brick and mortars have an advantage over these big box and e-commerce only businesses. But I don't know, I'm curious to see what happens over the next year,
Yeah. Well, one thing that's for certain is the world's been turned upside down and everybody is shaking it right now. So, and so let's touch on that real briefly. So I believe that in every problem points to an opportunity, and every crisis that amplifies that statement. So a crisis leads to great opportunities. They're not always evident. They're not always easy to find. But I mean, clearly our world of small to mid-size independent brick and mortar retail has been upended. Do you see any big opportunities? What do you see besides what we talked about earlier, just sort of going in and, making sure your digital footprint is correct? What else do you see? Anything bigger picture than that?
I think that they're kind of going back to experiences. There might be an opportunity, depending on the different types of retailers, to add in a service element to their business, looking at your customers and saying, how else can I help them in my industry, can create new ideas and innovation. And so even at that level of, if we are doing more delivery and curbside and adding those elements, but I think we'll see some people getting more creative on how they're really connecting and serving their audience. It will be interesting. I think that the retailers who really are consistent and show up with live streaming and video, I have heard a few different stories before all of this where by leveraging social, people are getting picked up for their own TV shows and are becoming these big stars or these big influencers. And so I think that we're going to see some of that with people in our community. You and I, people are independents in our community when they just keep showing up. I also wonder for some who are willing to be kind of a little bit more tech progressive. I see some opportunities with building mobile apps or online games or something that's kind of a connection for people.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's something that's been on my mind, and I think some of our retailers can leverage that. So, but I would be curious, what is your answer to that? That's a great question.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now. I'm supposed to be.
The tables have turned.
Well, I think that you hit the whole thing on the head. So Susan and I have this concept called WWMCW. It's what would my customer want? Yeah. And, it's both a strategy where you put your resources and a philosophy, a way of doing business. And I think that's that's exactly what's happening is there's going to be a lot of stores that don't make it because they've been doing business in a very transactional way. Yeah. And the era of that sort of transactional way of doing business, I think, is going to go away with this. The people who have built relationships and who focus on experiences and really, intensely customer focused, WWMCW, that's the opportunity because, to your point, the people who are showing up to provide value right now are going to, in fact, I talked about this in the podcast this morning. I talked about the rule of reciprocity. And when you're showing up now, when you're providing value now, when you're there for your customers now, they're going to remember it. Yeah. And so I think that everybody is going to become more fundamentally strong, which is so important if you're a retailer today. So, I expect that management one is going to see a huge surge in business because people who could get away with not managing their inventory professionally are going to go, oh my God, I got stuck and now I need help. People are going to come to you. They're going to come to us. Everybody's going to realize that they're going to need to step up their game. So fundamentals, in fact, I've got this thing, the 4 pillars of, success, and it's fundamentals, relationships, and experiences and culture. So, and I think that's what's going to happen is that Sammy Nagin. That's what happens when you do an interview at the kitchen table. But everybody's incredibly forgiving. So home office, not even a home office. Exactly. We're in the dining room.
Haven't barked, so that's good.
No, it's no worries, and they know that that it's okay. But there's this whole idea of the people who really are going to crush it when this thing is done are the people who are really, really getting good. And with the fundamentals, and they're really, really intensely customer focused, because you alluded to it earlier, and I believe that it's absolutely correct, is that our competitive advantage is our ability to build relationships. And, and I think that it's just going to accelerate that trend. In fact, the book that we're writing right now, it's called, the working title is Retail Reincarnation. And we were working at it, but this is really what's happening, right? There's going to be there's going to be a lot of people who are going to not make it because they're not doing business the right ways. There's going to be collateral damage. Some people that are really good retailers who should make it won't or will choose to stop, and that's an all right choice. But I think it's really about the people who don't focus on the customers, I think that they're going to have a difficult time when this is done, because the people who do focus on their customers, and to your point, who have shown up through this whole pandemic, are going to have earned loyalty at such a deep level that they're just going to win. They're just going to win.
Totally. I completely agree. I think that, and they're going to win, and it's just going to be so much bigger than it was before, because it will be deeper. It will just be more powerful, bigger impact. And I think it will be so exciting for everybody involved. I once heard on a podcast, they were trying to decide, I knew there would be a dog somewhere.
That's our dog Tucker.
Yeah.
Sam, our dog Tucker. We got to have Joe chime in just because.
I love it. On this podcast, this person was trying to figure out if they should keep doing their business or not. Right. And the person said, if your business all of a sudden became illegal, like you had to stop it, are you sad about that, or are you happy about that?
Right.
And I thought of that just a couple days ago, because a lot of stores you have to close. It doesn't mean you have to be out of business, right? But you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to reinvent yourself. I love the working title of your book. I think that's spot on with what's happening right now. And I think that there are some who are like, wow, I'm really realizing that this might be my out, and I'm not willing to work that hard, or I'm not, it's not. So much light is going to shine on us all of what path and direction we want to take here. And it is exciting in a way because of the innovation and the new ideas and creativity and the connection that's going to happen out of it. We have no idea. There's so much uncertainty, but I do think that there's light at the end of this tunnel. We'll see some great things that happen. And, we're all in this together.
That's right. So every day when, 5 days a week, Susan and I are doing a podcast, and every day I've started by saying, congratulations, we're one day closer to the end. We're one day closer to the end. And, what you said was very interesting, because there is a thread right now, and it's a fairly robust thread. Last I checked, there was 20 or 25 comments. Somebody says, I don't think I'm going to reopen. And people are having that conversation. And it's a very real conversation. And I know I've been there. My story. I've been through three separate crises when I was in crises. I never say this correctly. Susan's always 3 crises in the course of my 19-year retail career. And there's nothing wrong with going, okay, it's time for me to move on. I've done this. For a lot of people, it's fulfilled a dream. You've done that. That's okay. There's other things for you to do in your life. Your success as a retailer does not determine your success as a person. So I'm going to do a whole episode on that next week, because I think it's a really important conversation. A lot of people don't want. They think it's somehow being weak to say, okay, I'm ready to move on. And to your point, it's not. So
no, I'll have to check out. Fred, I'm sure that there's a lot of conversations are coming out of this, right?
There's a lot of conversations going on right now. And I appreciate your input. Okay, so to wrap things up, is there anything that you would like to add, anything you would like to say or share with our community?
Well, just to kind of reiterate what I said before, you have to show up for your people now more than ever. They want to see you. They want to connect. They're on social a lot more. Be there. Just think of that, your favorite customer. Once you do it, you'll see how it works. It'll feel good. It'll give you confidence. Just hit record. Again, done is better than perfect. And you will build momentum. You will start building that momentum and just keep going. It will re-energize you every single day.
Practice.
And yes, just practice. And then, of course, if you're ever stuck with the tech or how do I get more people there or anything like that, we're always a great resource when it comes to social media and digital marketing. There's a lot of resources out there to support you. So you've got to keep going. Stay in front of your customers, and video is going to be the best way to do that.
That's absolutely great. So if you want to know more about Crystal Social to Sell program, there is a button right below where you're seeing this, or you can go to, it's crystalmedia.com, right? Or is it .co?
It's crystalmediaco.com.
Okay, crystalmediaco.com. I'm glad I clarified that. So Crystal, thank you so very, very much. You've been very generous with your time and your expertise. And I know that in our community that so many of our people absolutely love you and what you do. So thank you so much for being with us here today.
Yes, well, and thank you for everything you are doing, Bob and Susan and your team. I'm honored to be here and I'm happy to help.
Okay, great. So for everybody, so that's Crystal Vilkaitis. If you are listening to this as a podcast, you can also get all of the resources that WhizBang Retail Training has been creating in association or in reaction to the coronavirus pandemic at whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus. So you can go there. We'd also encourage you to sign up for our tip of the week by going to whizbangtraining.com. And thank you, everybody, for your time. Take care. We will see you sometime very, very soon.